Hey there, perfectionists, my name's Dodgeball, but you already knew that because you're so darn perfect. It's review time, and guys, I gotta say, it's not every day that a rhythm game comes around like this. A game that constantly makes you say, one more round. Honestly, I think I may have found my new personal favorite in the genre, so today I'm here to give you a review of Super Dodgeball Beats by Final Boss Games. Now, before we get started, disclaimer alert, I got this game for free. So, you know, if you care about that, which you should, there you go. All right, let's get started. Art style, aesthetic, visual appeal, other buzzwords. First up are the game's visuals. Yeah, short and sweet, the game looks pretty freaking great. I guess I should break down a few key points though. Character design in this game is top notch. It is very much Saturday morning anime inspired, and goodness does it work. Each character is extremely expressive. Whether you are hitting the enemy with a perfect beat, or they've just gotten hit by a petrifying attack, the characters here are very appealing. The game itself uses manga panels in place of cutscenes, and once again, it just works. I could easily see this being a TV show. Like, easily. It'd be a pretty good one, too. Menu-wise, there's quite a bit to talk about. There is a little bit of disappointment in the content of said menus, and I'll go into that a little bit more in the gameplay section, but it just seems like there was a lot of work here, put into how the game's menus look. It's comic book themed, and I like comic books, so it's a win for me. During actual gameplay is when the game's visuals really shine. You're tasked with pressing buttons at proper time. What makes a good rhythm game is the ability to be flashy and appealing without being overly distracting. This is where I find fault with certain rhythm games. Too many of them are simply button prompt like conveyor belts laid over random nonsense, be it a crowd, dancers, or whatever. You know, your Guitar Heroes, DDRs, all that nonsense. I can't focus on buttons I'm supposed to press if you're playing a super distracting full-on music video behind what it is I'm supposed to be focusing on. Seems counterintuitive. I much prefer games like Just Dance and Thumper. See what I'm getting at? While a game does help you focus on the rhythm aspect, it is a versus game. The enemy team will be doing things to distract you, there are a few power-ups that block your view, but this is an intentional gameplay factor. I don't really know that I need to explain to you how rhythm games work. If you played one, then you pretty much understand where this is going. The game plays music, and you, as the player, are tasked with pressing buttons timed to that music. Simple enough, right? Well, this game has a different method of offering beats. Instead of that conveyor belt I was mentioning before, each character has a ring placed underneath them. When a character is highlighted, a larger ring appears beneath them, and you must press the button associated with that character where the rings line up. Simple enough, right? Well, then why would I still be talking about it? There are a number of different ways these rings show up. When purple, it's a normal press. When blue, you hold down the button and release it at a proper time. And lastly, when orange, you must move the control stick in the direction told and then hold it there until told to release it. Still pretty standard. What makes it stand out are the disruptors, which are called power-ups. This is quite the misnomer, as they do anything but power you up. What they actually do is make it harder for your opponent to hit beats properly. But your enemy can send them over to you as well, so as you hit notes, your power meter fills up, and you can launch a randomly picked disruptor at your enemy. Now, there are support characters that increase your odds of getting particular power-ups, but at the end of the day, it's still random. I actually really like this. The reason why is because there are a handful of these that are really jacked up. Most of them are pretty fair though, here are just a few. The donut prevents you from seeing an incoming beat. You kind of have to recognize the pattern if it's appeared before in the song, or use the timing of the song to guess. Then there's petrification. Your characters are frozen and you have to hit the beats perfectly to unfreeze them. If not, they'll count as misses. These are good and fair. Then there are disruptors like Mime and Poison. I hate Poison. Mime itself isn't too bad, it just suffers from being next to useless. Whenever you are hit with a disruptor, you can use Mime to hit them with the same thing. The reason why it's useless is because you can't really look at the power-up that you have. What you end up doing more times than anything is just hitting the trigger every second you get a power-up. If you look away from your characters for even a moment, you might end up missing beats. You can't turn this type of game into a strategy game out of nowhere. It's not right. And Poison. Poison works as, in my opinion, the most annoying one yet. If you tap the beat on that character, it actually counts against you. You have to wait until the poison goes away. Now, thankfully the game isn't point-based, otherwise this would be the single dumbest inclusion in the history of gaming. Frankly though, it's still really annoying and I still hate it. You'll have finally gotten the timing of the song down, and then out of nowhere, you'll get hit with the poison and get docked for getting comfortable. Now, I know that you might just be saying, oh, then just adapt, bruh, get good. Well, let me explain why that doesn't really work in this game. The gameplay is contingent on the music, and the beat work in this game is great, but there are a few instances where it seems as though the beats are chosen more for difficulty than because they fit. So just feeling the beat out doesn't really help you as much as you might think. So abrupt disruptors like poison hurt because there is a cascade of beats to hit one right after the other, and not having a character in that, messes up the timing on the other beats. It's hard to explain, but it sucks. It just really sucks. This can honestly sometimes cause you to miss an embarrassing number of beats. Just a personal take, but once again, I hate it. That said, I guess we should talk about the matches themselves. After you pick your support character, you enter a match. Depending on the team you're facing, you'll get a certain music track. There are over 15 of these, and they're all pretty high energy. One can kind of sort of blend into the other, but for the most part, they're pretty good tracks. Like, damn good tracks. The higher the difficulty, the more beats and complicated cascades. Like many other music-based games, if you flub a note, then the music distorts, so if you want to hear the best version of the song, you have to hit the beats correctly. I don't mind this, it's pretty normal. What does bother me is the fact that we only get one set of grunts. What I mean is, while there are 4 playable teams, when you hit the beats, you're greeted with the same noises. What I would have liked to see is if different notes appeared with different teams. There's like an elderly team. I'd have loved to hear like or something like I don't know how to imitate old people. I'm not old, all right? Get off my back. But this would give us different sounding songs. This is something I'm sure they might tackle in any sequels if they choose to. Just once again, another personal little gripe there. Lastly, the game offers 3 modes, which is a tad disappointing. There's Championship, which is effectively the game's story mode. It has a story, I guess. This mode is simply matches against CPU in a sort of Grand Prix style lineup. After the conclusion of the season, there's a championship. If you win that, then you get a new mini-comic video, and you unlock the next season, which is harder than the last. Then there's multiplayer. It plays like the matches you've played against the CPU, but with the benefit of human error. Lastly, there's training mode. This lets you practice songs at various difficulties, barring the ones you haven't played in Championship. It's a pretty good time just to get used to a song you're having trouble with, or simply to jam out, which I've done a few times. Not gonna lie. This game is an absolute blast. I know I nitpicked a few things, but honestly, it's because I have to. I have to let you guys know. I have to be honest. Whether you're playing through the story mode or just battling it out with a friend, you're going to be playing rounds over and over again, and you're gonna like it. If you're into those types of games, I mean. You have to be into those types. Obviously. You wouldn't be looking at this if you weren't. Maybe you would. I don't know. I don't know what you'd do with your day. The game definitely offers enough to warrant the $13 price tag on Switch. What's more, its scoring system rewarding you with different colored medals gives you a reason to replay songs over and over. It's a weird score. It's not like a traditional score. It's a weird one that gives you medals, but you get to collect them. Anyway, the game has sweet beats, amazing artwork, and your favorite gym pastime. What more could you want? Now, while I'm busy getting all these medals, I'll be waiting for the sequel. I'll give Super Dodgeball Beats an A.